How's it going, everybody? Back from the Yukon and back here at my home on the Magnetawan River. Beautiful couple of days until it started raining right when I wanted to do this little channel update. Got a ton of wood back here that I'm leaving, that I've left to this fall to buck up and split. So Tori and I are going to get heavy on that, and we've been trying to build a garage here for a long time. I don't know if it's going to happen this October due to permitting issues. The trip from the Yukon was amazing. I must admit, I shed a tear before we left. Huddy on the plane said bye bye mountains as he looked out the window and then burst into tears. The flight home and everything went pretty smoothly, surprisingly. We had to ship a bunch of stuff cargo, and then we hired a porter because we had so many bags and I had to go and get the truck and all these different moving parts, but we managed to figure it out. So we're back and we got a lot of footage to go through. Right now, everybody knows I'm running my Across the Arctic Wild series, which is the 20-day adventure that my brother Ted and I took this past July to canoe the Hood River from source to sea, ending at the Arctic Ocean. It's been pretty amazing. Actually, I'm going to just have myself here a tread lightly. And actually, while I share this tread lightly with you by Muskoka Brewery, I might also take a second to say that my beer, Jim Baird Adventurers Windbound Campfire Pilsner by Muskoka Brewery, has been sold out for a little while now. It was available to Ontario residents for online ordering. Unfortunately, not a larger audience could get it because of liquor laws transporting across the border, across provincial and territorial boundaries. So you had to get it in person. So it wasn't as easy to get, but it sold out real quick. It's been a hit, and I can't share too much info on this yet, but I could probably tease a little that you might be able to get some at a store near you come spring. So can't really share any more on that now. But anyways, yeah, the Arctic trip with Ted was just phenomenal. Actually, there's 100 kilometers of lakes on the in the headwaters of the Hood River, with some interconnecting river between them that took a lot of portaging and stuff like that. But the series really hasn't picked up yet. The trip really hasn't picked up yet. The lakes were challenging, but once we get to the river, that's where things get really interesting. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but we start to see caribou. We start to see a lot of caribou. We start to get into some different fish species. You could probably guess at what they might be. And the scenery gets just crazy cool, just otherworldly. Anyone who saw the last episode, we came across the remains of an Inuit cache where they used to cache caribou meat in the cave. There's still some remnants, some very old antlers, and also a cache made by a pile of stones as well. And some of that stuff could be minimum 100 years old and even up to 400 years old. Well, later down on that river, something just caught the corner of my eye, a huge boulder. And it reminded me of this massive boulder in the tundra in northern Manitoba that my brother and I saw, and what indigenous people there used to use it for. And I saw something weird on top of this massive boulder. I said, you know what? That's got to be something. That's a little out of the ordinary. Let's pull over and have a look. And wait till you see what we found there. That was pretty amazing. What probably the first people to lay eyes on that for a very, very, very long time. Actually, it's something we should probably take some more steps to document with the Nunavut government, maybe with the Canadian Museum of History. Anyways, really, really cool stuff. So stay tuned. But things get a little crazy for a little bit at one point. And we also have massive Wilberforce Falls and Canyon to deal with, which is the world's largest circumpolar falls as well. And you'll also see that the low water levels Ted and I were dealing with kind of work to our benefit, because once we get to the canyon, we are actually able to deal with it in a more efficient yet more dangerous way than anticipated. So stay tuned and check out what's happening there, because it's really cool. Anyways, yeah, a lot of work to do. Stay tuned. Tori is actually jumping off on another trip. For anybody that wants to follow Tori and see more stuff with the kids too, check out her Instagram page. It's at Tori Goes Outside. That's Tori, Tori Goes Outside. Also, she has her own YouTube channel, which is also Tori Goes Outside. And she's got some pretty awesome stuff up there. She'll be doing some of the stuff from this huge Yukon trip, kind of her own take on it. At one point, she went off with her sister and did some trekking and some backpacking off the Dempster and in Tombstone Territorial Park, which is one of the things that we did there on our 6-week trip, which led off with an 11-day canoe trip down the Teslin and Yukon rivers that, if you saw one of my last updates, had pretty scary ending to it. So more on that. You can be expecting some stuff for my Yukon video. Tori's going to be editing it. You can be expecting some stuff from that coming out in probably the next 2 to 3 weeks. So pretty soon. And Tori's going to be editing the vast majority of that, because she's so awesome at editing our family content. So you're going to be seeing Arctic, Across the Arctic Wild, that series, which is only getting better, and you're going to be able to see our Yukon adventure at the same time. So for a while, I'm going to be doing 2 videos a week. So probably Tuesdays and Thursdays. Anyways, well, I got you here. I wanted to introduce a new member to the family. This is my new chainsaw. Couldn't even get a sleeve big enough for this gigantic bar, but let me show you what this is here. This is the Stihl MS 500i. This is an absolute beast of a chainsaw. I do want to keep it in perspective, guys. It is only a chainsaw, okay? It's not magic. It is only a chainsaw, but it's about the best chainsaw. I've wanted to get this for so long. These things have been hard to come by. And when I went into Muskoka rental, there it was on the shelf, and I'm like, oh, do I get this one? Do I get and the salesman just like picked it up and put it by the cashier to make me help my decision. And I'm glad I did, because you know what, this year we actually have really small logs, but a lot of the time we have huge twisted beech trees to cut. And this is a 79.2 cc chainsaw. It's fuel injected, so you don't get the carb lag, and it even has a built-in computer, so you can actually just plug this thing in and it'll give you a reading as to tell you what might be wrong with it. It'll tell you the RPMs. It keeps a log of that, so you can say, okay, I was using this bar at this time, I was ripping at this time, I was doing that at this time. It's probably a little much for just cutting firewood, which is what I mainly use it for. So this year I probably don't need the bar this big to just cut my firewood, because it's not as big, but a lot of years I could really use that. So I'm actually going to build a sawbuck here, a folding sawbuck. You can see those 2x4s behind me, because these logs are small enough that 2 people can lift them up and put them in a sawbuck, and that'll make them easier to get them all the right size before splitting. So a lot of work to do. Tori and I, between maple syrup and between heating our home, we cut and split 11 cords a year by hand. Last year we had some friends come over with a gas-powered wood splitter, which made it easier to just do like an 8-hour day of splitting. Usually we come outside, you know, we go at splitting for 2-3 hours a day, and you know, by the time a few weeks go by, you know, then 1 or 2 big pushes and we got a lot of wood to deal with. So yeah, really excited about this saw. This saw is actually going to stay here, and my old saw, the Echo Timberwolf 550, which just didn't have the power. Great saw for firewood, a little heavier than it needs to be for the power. That's the only complaint. This is not a light saw. I think this is about 12 or 13 pounds, but for the power, it is a light saw. So great ratio. Very, very beautiful, beautiful saw, but unfortunately I can't use it right now because I popped a rib out where it connects to my spine, and it's all like spasmy in there. Fortunately, it didn't happen in the Yukon, so I'm going to give that a couple days to heal up before I start going crazy with this puppy. And I'm going to bring the Timberwolf 550 up to our camp where you see our cabin. Tori and I were actually pretty lucky to get the camp that we did. We really wanted to buy a camp, as they call them in Northern Ontario. A lot of people call it just a cabin, a cottage. They're called more in Southern Ontario. You know, all these things, you know, people use the name and they could range. People call it in BC, they call it cabin, but it'll be, you know, a very large, beautiful place. And here we call it a camp, which usually is more, you know, off-grid type of thing. Cottages can be off-grid too. It's all sort of, you know, hunting, fishing, location, vacation home, these kinds of things. And Tori and I thought maybe, you know, if we save our pennies and do things right and, you know, the planets align, we could get a camp next year. But you know what, at about 4 in the morning I was thinking about it, and I picked up my phone and did a little search, and sure enough we found something in a price range we could handle, and in a location that we really, really liked. And so yeah, the stars aligned before we thought they would. But because of that, we couldn't cancel all our plans. I couldn't cancel the Arctic. I couldn't cancel 6 weeks in the Yukon. Tori couldn't cancel all her workshops and everything she was doing. So we got a good amount of time up there in the early summer. But you're probably going to see it. Well, you will see us going back up there this fall to kind of close up and do some prep for winter. And then when it freezes up, you're going to see us heading up there in the winter, doing some exploring. I'm going to be picking up a new snowmobile that can haul a serious amount of weight. So we're going to be able to haul firewood. And then the very exciting thing is, come next summer, you're going to be seeing us spending a lot of time there and doing some exploring as a family and solo in the backcountry. There's a lot of remote wilderness just behind our place, which is a 23 kilometer, you know, 46 or 44 kilometer return trip in the boat, even just to get to the place by water. And you can imagine there's some really remote and beautiful spots in that area. So we're going to be exploring that area for a long portion of time next summer, which I'm super, super excited about. So yeah, anyways, you're going to be hearing from me, just probably throw up a video building the sawbuck, and you know, I'm gonna maybe film a little bit of me chopping this wood. Tori's actually jumping off on a canoe trip this Friday. She's doing a river. I don't know if she wants me to give away the river she's doing, but yeah, she's doing a Northern Ontario river with a friend of hers that she did the Export Development Canada shoot for Novacraft with in BC. And she was also part of the 6 North of 60 canoe expedition that did a 2-month expedition through the Arctic Barren Grounds. So stay tuned, check out Tori's channel for that. And yeah, I'll try to post more of these updates. I'm going to be doing some lives also, probably early in the new year, if not around Christmas, just so I can connect with you all directly and answer as many questions as I possibly can. And let me know, what would you like to see from me on my channel? What's your favorite kind of content that I put out there? Are there any products? Would you like to see some Jim Baird branded clothing that I really put my time into trying to develop? Would anybody be interested in even paying for online courses is another thing. Would anybody be interested in looking at an online course from me? And if so, what is a topic that you'd find interesting? The other thing I was thinking of doing is maybe putting together a PDF for an inexpensive download that has all my collective written works. I've been writing for outdoor magazines for a long time. I've shifted mostly over to YouTube now because that's, you know, become quite time consuming. I just want to put all my effort into getting good content out, and I'm trying to work on getting more of the larger, longer videos that are more compilations out that people seem to really like as well. So yeah, a lot of good stuff coming with the channel, a lot of winter adventures, and I can't wait to share this Yukon stuff too. So that's about it. Stay tuned. Hope you like my new friend here, Stihl. This is not a sponsor or anything. It's just a beauty saw that I feel very fortunate that I've reached the point in my life where I can provide a safe home for a beautiful saw like that. Anyways, everyone, take care, and more to come. Stay tuned for Thursday's video because it's going to be a beauty from the Arctic, and lots more stuff to come. Oh, please subscribe. They say when you really want someone to do something, to just ask. So please subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel. Check out my Facebook page, Jim Baird Adventurer, and follow me on Instagram, which is JB Adventurer. I got reels there, and I do a lot of other photo posts and updates and stuff that you won't see here on YouTube. So please check that out, subscribe, and thanks very much. Time to go cook some chicken.